All right. The next Batman on the list. Now, this one I've seen all of their movies
Hmm.
again and again and again. Big fan of the Nolan trilogy.
Hmm.
Christian Bale's Batman. How are we feeling about this one, Squito? How you feel?
Uh,
Because
I'm gonna
I
be a
feel
little.
like we're gonna disagree on this a little bit. Go ahead.
I think we are gonna disagree on it. Christian Bale is a fucking fantastic actor.
Yeah,
Gotta love Christian
of
Bale.
course.
I mean, I don't trust anyone that is not a fan of Christian Bale.
Right?
But I gotta say, as Batman, I'm not the biggest fan of Christian Bale. Even though I will say he has the best top three live action Batman movies, and one of his movies is actually about Batman. So, he gets that,
Right.
unlike Michael Keaton.
Fucking
So
up.
I'm referring to Batman Begins. His performance in Batman Begins is incredible. We get to the movie goes on for over an hour before we even see a hint of Christian Bale as Batman. And his performance as Bruce Wayne is fucking incredible. We get to see the ins and outs of the character, and I think that's what makes Batman Begins so good, is that it's a character study of Bruce Wayne and Batman, unlike any other, Batman movie we've ever seen. And so we get to see a lot of Christian Bale's performance throughout the movie. We get to see a lot of his character. And so as Bruce Wayne, I really love Christian Bale. But I do feel like his Bruce Wayne's a bit of a dickhead.
Yes.
And I don't like that aspect of his Bruce Wayne. Like, I get it. He's playing up the part, right? He's trying to be this unlikable, playboy billionaire.
Right.
Because then, you would never suspect that guy in a million years to be Batman.
Right.
But I don't like that he's a dickhead, because for me, that's not what Bruce Wayne should be. And then as Batman, a lot of people talk shit about his Batman voice. In Batman Begins specifically, his voice is really good. It's in the later movies where, it doesn't sound very good. And I also feel like as Batman, we don't get to see him as much in the suit. As much as I would like to anyway.
You're talking about like
But
throughout
he
the
doesn't.
trilogy?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like these movies feel very Bruce Wayne centric, and I'd probably say The Dark Knight is where we see, him as Batman the most. That's probably the most balanced. Would you agree? Or he's Bruce Wayne and
I
Batman throughout The Dark Knight?
mean, The Dark Knight Rises had a lot of Batman. You know.
No, no. In a 2.5 hour movie, he is in the Batman suit for 8 minutes.
Yeah. Really. Hmm. Felt like longer.
Yeah,
uh,
no. It's just that his scenes in the Batsuit are very
that's
iconic
what
and
it is,
memorable.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking like, how long was he in that hole again? Oh yeah. All right.
yeah, a long
It's been
ass
a little
time.
while. My bad, y'all. Dark
Yeah,
Knight,
yeah,
definitely the most. Yes, yes, definitely the most.
yeah.
Batman Begins was second. Yes, very much so. Okay, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
starting to piece it together now. I'm a little sleep deprived. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm
Continue.
just I'm just yapping here. I'm just rambling.
Continue to yap. I'm here.
Um,
I got some retorts, but go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So the thing is, for me, the Nolan Batman movies,
Hmm.
I love them and I hate them. I love them for what they did with the character. Right? They put Batman in the spotlight, probably more than he's ever been. And
That I have no doubt.
a lot of people love the Batman movies. I mean, I love every Batman movie, but when people say like, "Oh, The Dark Knight's one of the best superhero movies ever made," I don't really agree with that notion.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh. Oh, okay.
and so there was a time in my life where The Dark Knight was my favorite movie. So I will say that.
Hmm.
But over time, as I've watched and experienced a lot more different kinds of Batman content, the idea of who Batman should be in my head is a lot different than how Christian Bale's Batman is.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard to explain, because I feel like as Batman, I wish we got a lot more of just him as Batman interacting with other people. Because I mean, we see him with Jim Gordon and Alfred and stuff, but
He left early all the time, that
he
motherfucker.
did. He left early all the time, and it feels like a lot of his interactions are cut short. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like we get a lot of Christian Bale as Batman, but at the same time, we don't.
Well, como se dice? I do have this question to ask you. What do you think of the closest to the closest to your image Batman? I'll take a guess. The Arkham trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty close. So the ideal version of Batman for me is the animated series.
The animated
100%.
series. I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah, 100% is Batman the animated series. But the Arkham games are really close because the Arkham games are basically taken from the animated series.
Mhm.
You know, it's just a bit darker and more mature than the show was.
Indeed.
But yeah, so when I think Batman, I think the animated series. And so the reason I say that Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne doesn't fit the Bruce Wayne in my head is because I mentioned his Bruce Wayne's a dick. He's a dick, and he's unlikable, and I would never be friends with that guy in a million years.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the animated series, Bruce Wayne always felt like he was out to help people no matter what, you know? And it shows that, you know, whether he's in the costume or out of it, he's always thinking of the people of Gotham, and so he's doing his best to help them. And Christian Bale has had moments of that, where you can see that he wants to help the city, but it feels like those movies also really downplay his power as Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
It's mostly focused on the Batman side, which I can see because, you know, they're Batman movies. You want more of the Batman side.
Right.
But I feel like it's not even just the Nolan movies. I think it's all the live-action Batman movies. We don't really get to see the power that Bruce Wayne has in Gotham.
Well,
because he can do so much for the people without wearing the suit.
Yes, like for example, the beginning of Arkham City, where he was talking about taking down the taking down the Arkham prison, and he was there at the protest. He was standing in front of a bunch of people in news broadcasts, and then he was brought in. Like that was Bruce Wayne fighting and activism. You know, he doesn't do that here. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I feel like just in the movies overall, we haven't gotten a lot of that side of Bruce Wayne, or any. Like, yeah, we hear like, okay, maybe he's donated money, or he sent, equipment and stuff to like the police or that kind of thing. But we don't really get to see it that often. And Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne is just unlikable for me, and I don't like that aspect of it. Granted, that's a performance he's putting on to the public. It's not who he really is, but I don't like that part of it. And for me, it's a big part of it. Bruce Wayne's the second half of Batman, and so for me, you have to get Bruce Wayne right just as much as Batman.
You know what, I do like your... Go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, as Batman, he's good. I don't think he's great. I think he's good. I can't really explain why. I just think he's good, but not great.
I feel like his action scenes are very well shot and choreographed.
Yeah.
I also think as Batman, he has a demanding presence. The thing is,
he does have an aura.
Very much so. The thing is this is one of the big things is his very raspy voice. It could be meme-ish at times, right? Como se dice? But como se dice? I don't really fault Christian Bale specifically for that too much. I'm just thinking like, why in the hell does he have to pull off the raspy voice? Like, why is that a thing? Why can't he just speak in a dark, demanding tone or something along those lines, right?
And his voice can be really good. Like, if you guys haven't seen it in a while, I encourage you to rewatch clips or something of Batman Begins, because his voice was really good in that movie. And then you watch The Dark Knight, and it's like night and day. It's like, what the hell happened here? Now he's gargling marbles.
Yeah, for real. So I agree with that specific part. But one thing that I find very interesting about Nolan Batman, because I understand where you're coming from with, not Nolan Batman, Nolan Bruce Wayne. I understand where you're coming from, and I actually like that version of Batman. Absolutely, I love that version of Bruce Wayne, but I also love this version of Bruce Wayne. And the reason why I love the version of Bruce Wayne is because it's more likely to be realistic. And what I mean by that is Bruce Wayne, and I'm not talking about him in a cover. I'm talking about him being a product of his environment. When a soldier goes out to fight in a war, or when police officers are going out every day, their social interactions are kind of hindered by the constant BS and violence and crazy shit that they see on a day-to-day basis. They're a lot more standoffish. They may even come off as an asshole at times because through all the craziness, they need to decompress in some way, and some people don't really have a healthy way of decompressing, and so their social interactions are hindered because of that. I feel like Bruce Wayne is more of a dickhead, como se dice, and he also lashes out at people more often because of the circumstances that he's constantly being put in. He's seeing his city, pretty much the world to him, being burnt around him. You know what I mean? People killing each other, politicians being corrupt and getting people out of jail, and he feels like he's powerless at times. And so those emotions kind of leak through Bruce Wayne. You know, it's not all just an act. Those moments where he's rude, those moments where he lashes out, those moments where it seems like he's clouded by rage, it's because he's a product of his environment and what he's putting himself through, you know, along with, of course, the childhood trauma. So I do see where you are coming from, and I like that version of Batman, absolutely, but I also really like this Batman because it is more likely to be the case than the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these movies are, they encourage realism a lot.
Right. And they take liberties, you know?
Yeah, they do for sure, especially with Begins. Begins is the most unrealistic right. of the three.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's just the thing with Christian Bale's Batman is he's a very cold character, at least to others, right? And you know, Batman, when we think of him, he is, you know, kind of big and emotionless,
right,
and kind of stilted. But I feel like with Bale's Batman, with the people he's around, like say like Jim Gordon, right? I want to see a bit of a softer side to his Batman. Not just the front that he's putting up.
Because Christian Bale could pull it off. We all know that.
Christian Bale can pull it off.
He can pull off anything.
Yeah. Like I said, I fucking love Christian Bale.
Right.
And I would love to see if there's any scenario where he can come back as Batman for like a cameo or something. I would be there for it. I'd be, you know, the first one to cheer. Yeah. Like in a packed theater. But it's just his Batman is good, but it's not the Batman that I want, I guess is the best way for me to put it. It's a good Batman, but it's not my Batman.
I see where you're coming from, and aesthetic and subjectively I disagree with you, but I see where you're coming from, and you lay your points very well. One more thing I'm going to add to my argument is there's a reason why you don't send a 20-year-old grizzled SWAT veteran in as a negotiator. You send in a negotiator, the guy who doesn't have to deal with the violence day to day. You deal with the guy who studies in speech and that kind of thing. It's the same thing with Batman. When he's talking to people, when he's being, como se dice, when he's talking to people, whether he's being authoritative with enemies or he's trying to convey information or get information from a police officer like Jim Gordon, he gets what he needs and he gets the fuck out. He doesn't cut the BS. He doesn't try to make small talk. He doesn't try to como se dice, he doesn't try to be diplomatic in any way, and he doesn't really care about the other person's feelings. He's simply trying to get the means to get to the end. Do you get my drift? He's just trying to collect enough so he can continue, because he's seen it all. He's grizzled, he's broken, he's doing all this, but he's saving the city anyway because he needs to, you know? So once again, I understand where you're coming from, and you layer your thoughts very well. And while I disagree with your subjective viewpoint, I understand it. But I have to say that I like this version of Batman, and I think it's on the caliber of this version of Bruce Wayne. And I'd have to say that this caliber of Bruce Wayne is on par with with your version of Batman. I'm gonna say nicer or some shit. Your version of Batman. I think it's on par with that version. With all that being said, what are we thinking about on the tier list? The thing is, I don't feel comfortable putting this Batman below Val Kilmer. I really don't. All right?
No, he's not below Val Kilmer.
And I don't know if Val Kilmer deserves A. I'm being honest. Really?
I'm thinking we move George Clooney down to F. Because like I said, he's not even...
Holmes
He's
is
just George Clooney.
He's a stand-in. All right, F.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's just George Clooney.
And then you want to put Val Kilmer where? You want to keep him in A?
We can move him to B.
All right, I'm thinking B, and I'm thinking Bale. Worse than Keaton. Worse than Keaton.
For me, yes. For me, I prefer Michael Keaton.
Hard. I tell you what, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. But fans know where I stand. He's fucking here. All right.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to you. That's there. All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Michael Keaton's S. You think Christian Bale's S.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Fair enough.
You know what? I'll give you this. You can put him above Keaton.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I appreciate
you can
that.
put him above Keaton.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to take too much from you. The thing is, right, is that there's more variables with this Batman than Keaton's Batman.
Yeah,
a lot more variables, a lot more relationships.
There's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more characters, a lot more story threads with Bale's Batman than Keaton's.
So I'd have
because Keaton's not even the main character in his own movies.
Damn.
That's the unfortunate truth about his Batman is, Jack Nicholson's Joker is the main character of the first movie, and Danny DeVito's Penguin is the main character of the second one.
Oh, Jesus. He played the Penguin? Fuck.
With Danny DeVito? Yes, and he did a great fucking job.
Wow, that's wild. I had no idea. Fucking hell. I gotta see that sequel.
No, Batman Returns, I think, is really good.
I gotta see it. It's on the list.
It's probably the most boring Batman movie, but I still like it.
Fair enough.